Hey, folks, we're live, and this is the Paul Harrell program. We got a great show for you. We've got Rob in the co-host seat. We've got Eric Haynes in seat number 3 today. We're going to talk about it. What is going on? What is going on? So Trump signs the memorandum of understanding, and then we wake up and Moscow is on fire. I think just like 30,000-foot view, one of my favorite phrases, if you can't tell, I think Zelensky got really jealous. Like, no one's paying attention to little old Zelensky. And so maybe he decided to do a line of Coke and push a red button. I don't know, but we're going to talk about it. This is the Paul Harrell program, and it starts right now.
The Paul Harrell program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Back to full steam. It's full steam ahead here on the show. Really do appreciate you being with us. Rob Spencer. Rob, how you doing, sir?
Oh, my goodness. I'm so honored that we've got a full house. It's been a while, gentlemen. It has been a while since we've all been here to play and talk about all of the things that are going on. It's also been a pretty eventful 24 hours since the last time we were here. I was mowing today. I was mowing some of my apartments before the rain came in today, and I listened to our show from yesterday, kind of like a psycho.
Oh.
You know, like I like to listen to it.
Eric may have a few thoughts on that.
Eric's got a few thoughts about the show from yesterday.
It was labeled explicit.
I know.
Just so you know. And,
listen, I got
to clean it up, bro.
I really got fired up yesterday, and I let a few cuss words fly. And what happened was, unfortunately, we were labeled as explicit, and that was not the intention. I'm going to try to, dang, shoot, crap. I'm gonna say cleaner words today, folks.
We need a dry erase board up here.
Well, we need like a swear
dang,
box.
Shoot.
Honestly, what I needed right there.
Oh, fiddlesticks.
Fiddlesticks, biscuit. So if you like, my daughter loves Bluey, the show Bluey, and they say, "Oh, biscuits."
Yeah. That's a great show, by the way.
It is phenomenal. They tried to cancel Bluey a few years ago because there was no gay stuff on there. And so they said, "Oh, since there's no gayness on there, we're going to cancel it." And even Democrat moms were coming out. Even these liberal moms were coming out and saying, "We're not doing this. We're not canceling Bluey. It's the only bright spot that we have." If you ever watch Peppa Pig,
oh, it's bad, yeah.
and then Bluey back to back, you're just like, "Thank God for Bluey."
I will say there was a reference. There was kind of a gay reference in one of the latest Blueys from a while ago. I don't even know what season they're on. It was like with the one where they move or whatever, and there was just like, it wasn't any of the main characters, but it was some reference to one of these kids having two mommies or something like that, I think. So I think they did eventually get something in there on that, but they did resist for a while. Just FYI.
Somebody said
I kept waiting for the character to show up on Bluey, that like the It's Pat character from SNL.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's Pat. You know, you never knew.
Yeah.
No one ever wanted to say anything.
They made a whole movie about it, and it flopped.
Yeah. But it's like,
Yeah.
That is really good.
It's a really good. What?
all right, I'm done.
I don't know if it was Alec
See you later,
Baldwin.
folks.
I don't know who it was. There was a skit with Pat back then, and I don't know if it was Alec Baldwin or whoever, but was like a barber, and you put the thing around and you get up, and what do? They take that little brush and they sweep you off or whatever, and he gets around Pat's crotch, and he's just like. And he keeps on. And he's like, "I think you got it. I think you got it."
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, trying to figure out, like, is there a hump in there? You know.
Oh, man.
So anyway,
We do definitely need a swear jar for Rob right here.
I think you're right.
A little piggy bank. We could
Listen,
start a fund.
Listen, I
you're
grew up.
Give that money away to charity or something like that.
Listen, I grew up. My friends, but I've said it multiple times. My wife is so offended anytime Ethan. Like she thinks about sorry, I shouldn't have said my son's name, but anyway, like she gets so upset that I can't believe he would do this or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh. I try to put it in perspective, about him and stuff. And so I was like, do you understand he goes to public school? Mm-hmm. she went to a private Christian school, right? And I said, he goes to public school. He hears worse than this every single solitary day, And so anyway, I try to put it in perspective. And honestly, when I'm really upset at him and I let a couple of cuss words fly, he's listening to me. That's probably the only time he's listening to me.
That's what kids do.
He's like, Dad's mad. I better listen to this.
They're very perceptive.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Pat. I thought this was a good segue because
It's Pat.
I don't see what's on the screen there, but this
What the?
that this may very well
What
be.
the heck is this?
What? Well, somebody says transgender people in 50 years, and it's this. I mean, that really is the future for a lot of these people, and they're gonna realize it.
Yeah, cursing is a big deal in Arkansas radio, not many other places. Eileen says that in our chat, and that is true. We are in the Bible Belt, and so it's just a different scenario here. But also, the more importantly is that our podcast and stuff might get labeled as explicit content, which limits the reach.
Well,
that
I
you
tell you,
have.
and I took the necessary measures to keep the podcast in good standing. So.
What did you do? Did we get a strike?
Well, it was labeled explicit, and
Yeah.
so we just removed that particular episode.
I shall be tamed today. Dag nabbit.
So
pickles.
here it is. Here's the deal. President Trump, since the last time we talked, decided to sign the memorandum of understanding. Here it is. There he goes. You see that there. And I believe one of the foreign ministers of Iran has since tweeted a document with more signatures on this as well. So after he did that, he went out to the car.
You signed the deal?
The MOU? It's signed, yeah. It's signed? You signed it. It's signed. I just signed it.
The stories made and just signed?
All right, so he signs the deal. In the meantime, Vice President J.D. Vance was at the podium today. He's actually making a lot of rounds to promote his book.
Yeah, he's on tour. He's on tour.
But,
You did a good job.
Yeah.
I've got a few clips of J.D. Vance, kind of laying down the law here when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu. Listen to this.
Israel has the right to defend itself, but fundamentally, the Israelis, just like everybody else, have to respect this peace process that is fundamentally good for them and good for the entire region. What the president gets grown frustrated sometimes is that we seem to be right on the cusp of a major breakthrough in the agreement, and then all of a sudden there's a major explosion that goes off in a civilian population center in Beirut, and a lot of people who have nothing to do with Hezbollah lose their lives. That's not acceptable. That's the sort of thing that we've asked for closer coordination so that we ensure it doesn't happen. And our message to the Israelis, just as our message to everybody else, is fundamentally, we want this peace process to be good for you. We do not want Hezbollah attacking Israel, but in order to ensure that that happens, we have got to actually build the kind of regional framework that can cut off the money to Hezbollah, cut off Iranian support for Hezbollah, and also ensure that Lebanon's territorial sovereignty is respected by all parties.
Okay, so that's cut one. Any comment? Eric, we haven't even gotten your take on the memorandum of understanding yet, because I know this is your first episode in this week.
Yeah, great
Great to be part of the conversation.
There you go. We're glad you're back,
I don't
Eric.
trust the MOU any further than I can throw it. Well, with
I
your
agree.
bad knee, Ed, you shouldn't throw anybody. That's from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But anyway, I just don't think it's worth the paper that it's written on because of my lack of trust in Iran.
Well,
but
it's
I think
never
this
gonna
was
be that.
really good for the economy.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what happened here, and we just need to take the W for what it is, but not really put it up as that big of a W, because we're not dealing with sound-minded, rational people. We've talked about that before. So for us to sit here and say that this MOU has any meat to it or any hook to it, I don't see that happening. I think we're just going to be kind of waiting for the next event or the next move by Iran.
Well, that's what we're always doing with Iran.
Sure.
You know, prior to this whole thing, we're sitting there waiting. Just
Yeah.
what are they going to do? What are they going to
Yeah.
do? Are they going to bomb somebody today, or use their proxies to bomb someone? I don't think anybody saw October 7th coming. There's probably some people that did, but not many people knew that it would be that exactly. Certainly, Alex Jones wasn't calling it like he called, 9/11. But I think you could see that kind of stuff happening. There's turmoil always there. Israel is always going to be under attack. In my opinion, they're always going to be unsteady at any given time, and so anything that the Iranians sign, it's worth toilet paper. I agree with that, but at the same time, if it kicks the can down the road, I'm good with that too.
So, I have a slightly different take. And again, I don't trust the Iranians necessarily, but, what J.D. Vance here is saying is actually, the one thing that
It was a shot at Israel.
Yeah, the one thing
Yeah.
that could torpedo this really quickly is Benjamin Netanyahu refusing to de-escalate in Lebanon. That's actually what I'm waiting for.
That was what I took from JD's comments from the podium too. Was that it was a shot at Israel, saying, what sucks about this is that every time we try to make some progress, they go after Hezbollah and end up knocking down some apartment building with a bunch of civilians in it.
That's because
it makes us all look stupid.
Right, and that's because Israel has different goals than we do.
It's disproportionate. We talked about it on the show yesterday about how there's just been a change in tone and tenor over the last certainly over the last week.
Last 3 weeks, and wait till this next clip of JD. You want to know a shift in tone?
Okay,
this is the shift in tone that has got.
Did he fill in?
Must have been another fill-in for Caroline.
Okay, I didn't see this.
He's still on maternity leave.
Good.
Listen to this.
Now, I saw the Axios report. That Netanyahu is fuming. That's not reflective of the conversations that I've had with him, but maybe he's saying something to somebody else that he's not saying to me. What I will say, and this does bother me, is that you've seen people within Bibi's cabinet who have come out and attacked the deal, and in some ways very personally attacked the President of the United States. And I guess my message to them would be twofold. Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world.
Wow.
And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in. Thank you all.
That's how he
ended
the press conference with that.
Wow.
You can tell there's some frustration built up there.
There is.
Yeah.
Well, so JD is really good about not speaking in absolutes, and he was speaking in a lot of absolutes there. He's like, if you think that the United States is the issue, you need to wake up and smell the reality of what you're dealing with. That's pretty dang definitive, in my opinion, about a shift in this administration's goals when it comes to Israeli peace and the actions that we're willing to take versus ones that we're not.
And President Trump said yesterday at the G7 that we're 4 weeks until our oil reserves are gone, that there's essentially going to be a global depression. There's now reports saying, hey, if we don't end this thing now, that Trump's legacy is going to be the start of a potential global depression. Obviously, President Trump doesn't want that. Now, there was a lot of people that actually said, hey, this is what happens. It is what it is. There were people that said, don't do this because of the cards that Iran had. There was this idea that Iran's another Iraq. And then there were people saying, no, it is not another Iraq. And what we talked about yesterday is the topography of the land is the topography of the land. You have a problem here. And now we're seeing, hey, we've got to get that oil flowing, and we've got to get this thing, starting back up. And so, Israel and the United States probably had more of a cohesive agenda at the start, which is why Benjamin Netanyahu decided to go into Lebanon when he did, and now that's being cut off because we're trying to get the peace. And now the administration is essentially signaling, hey, get on board or get out of the way. But I do not know how this ends, because this is a very sketchy topic. But J.D. Vance is right, because if the Israeli cabinet, now he gives Benjamin Netanyahu the out.
He does.
Benjamin Netanyahu's not necessarily saying this, but his cabinet is. I don't know who's telling the cabinet to say these things, but he's saying, look, the president is your only guy. Everybody else has turned their back and doesn't want anything to do with Israel's Greater Israel Project or whatever they're trying to accomplish there. And Mark Levin is obviously unhappy. Here is...
You got to read this tweet in his voice, though.
Okay, here's a novel idea. This was an hour. I saw this an hour after I saw the J.D. Vance clip, so I'm assuming that he saw J.D. Vance.
Yeah, he was watching.
Here's a novel idea. Stop bullying our ally and cozying up to the enemy, you big dope. So this is an interesting thing.
So good.
So he is now saying that I'm just going to go ahead and assume that this is about J.D. Vance. That J.D. Vance, and I guess by extension this deal, is cozying up to the enemy. And I get people don't like the memorandum of understanding. I get that there's aspects of it they don't like. But again, as J.D. Vance has said on these podcasts, what are the other options? Nuke them.
Yeah.
Where United States loses all moral authority for all time. The country is over at that point in a lot of respects, right? Or you send in ground troops where we take thousands and thousands of casualties and get involved in another 30-year war. That's not going to fly either.
I'm not on board with either.
This
either
is
of those.
the only, they were okay. If you believe the official narrative, they were about to get a nuclear weapon. Okay, if you believe that, okay, whatever. Now they're not. Now they're apparently they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, but they do get to keep their ballistic missiles. So now the goalposts are moving, and now everybody's upset that they're going to keep their missile defense system. People are upset by that. Listen to this.
Let's just be honest, though. Let's just be honest. And we talked about this yesterday. I was listening to it no more than 3 hours ago while I was on the mower. We talked about how you throw the world at them. This is Trump art of the deal. Like, I ask for the world, and then I negotiate, and I end up getting what I want. And ultimately what he wanted was no nuclear weapons in Iranian hands.
Right.
Now, all of this other stuff is just gravy, in my opinion. But what he was trying to say is, we played a clip from Ben Shapiro on Fox News yesterday.
Yeah, towards the end of the show.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about here. And so Ben Shapiro was like, well, when we set out, we said no nuclear enrichment whatsoever. Now we're moving that goalpost. This is not how Ben said it, but we're moving that goalpost and saying, well, as long as they don't have nuclear weapons. Well, that's just negotiations. Because what's the other option, Paul? Eric? It is just blowing Iran off of the face of the planet. You either negotiate with a country and you sign something. Now, I agree with Eric. It's not worth much, but at least it's something, and it ceases the hostilities here, gets the world economy going, which is lives and dies off of oil at this point, crude oil. But anyway, so you've got these options here. You can blow the country off the face of the planet, you can invade it and take it over, or you can negotiate. If we're not good with option A and B, then we can't sit here and gripe about option C.
That's exactly right. To mention the goalposts are moving, here is President Trump. He's facing criticism because, they're going to let Iran keep their defense systems. Listen to this.
Can I follow up quickly on something you said in the press conference? You said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's
okay, in relative proportion. One more on the ballistic missiles. Here is, who is this? Republican senator on CNN.
Senator, are you okay with Iran having missiles?
I'm hesitating. I'd prefer that they not. I certainly don't want them to have long-distance missiles. I don't want them to have nuclear-armed missiles. I would prefer they didn't. But I don't think that's the key issue here. I think that they have to be able to defend themselves. And I just kind of come back to the big picture here, is that the Middle East countries like this agreement.
You think Iran needs to be able to defend itself?
I do. I think that they have to be able to defend themselves. Otherwise, we turn this into a forever war. You're never going to get them short of boots on the ground
right.
of surrendering everything, an unconditional agreement, if you will. But
I mean, when the agreement says you're going to protect or honor the sovereignty, the integrity of the country, yeah, they're going to still have to have ways to defend themselves. We may not like that, but I mean, we're essentially saying Iran gets to still be Iran in some capacity. And the people that wanted to, I'm sorry, I'm now of the opinion that the forever war is the only way that you get rid of Iran aside from a nuclear weapon. This was always the goal. And I think people on the right that were saying this is going to be a forever war, this is going to be a forever war, we're pulling back from that. But I think that's 100% true. I think those fears were well founded. Look at what people are saying now. Well, you can't. It was either glass Iran to completely take it off the map, or another forever war. Those were the only options for some of these people, and the American people are sick of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Caitlin Collins, obviously she's an idiot, but she looks at it. It's the same question. You remember the town hall with Trump, and she said, "Can you say right now that you want Ukraine to win and Russia not to win?" Like, you're looking at crap black and white, because you're such an idiot that you only see this stuff in black and white when it's on the Republican side. Now on the Democrat side, well, there's some other things in play here. There's some gray here, but you only see things in black and white. And what she's trying to get this senator from Kansas to say, which I have never heard of this gentleman, but I'm a fan based off of that answer. What she's trying to get him to say is, can you say, well, why do they have the right to defend themselves? Are you seriously? She didn't ask that question, but that was what the implication is. What do you mean? That you're saying that they have the right to defend themselves? They're a sovereign country. What? You either blow them off the face of the planet, invade them with ground troops, or they're a sovereign country. We keep just going circles around this. If I'm not good with option A and B, then I have to negotiate and find some sort of common ground, and where we can all live with option C.
Right. And also, I'll just add that the ground troops option doesn't necessarily happen in a vacuum. The ground troops option could also mean that now Russia and China get involved and you kick off some sort of World War III. I mean, that's always a possibility. So it's just crazy. We're playing with fire.
In my mind, World War III doesn't begin in the Middle East, but at the same time, I don't know. I can't predict the future.
Well,
is that what it's going to be?
World War I kicked off because Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated and alliances were called up.
Yeah,
alliances. You're going to make good on your alliances.
Yeah, and if he would have listened to his wife, would World War II have even started? Because she said, "Let's not do this." Mm-hmm. But anyway,
Mark Levin again. Time for a change in strategy.
What? No, we got to have the voice.
Time for a change in strategy. We should consider slow walking the enemy, building up our munitions, Mr. Producer, our oil reserves, get the price of gasoline down, get them through the midterms, then knock them out, instead of rushing to a deal. Building up their oil industry, transferring billions to them, etc. Luke Redouts, he says, how about no? How about we don't listen to Mark Levin on anything
How
ever
about
again?
it? How about it, Luke? I'm with you. I'm with you.
How about it?
All right.
How about no?
Now we have Ben Shapiro.
Listen.
Dr. Evil voice.
Ben Shapiro attacking J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance went on Megyn Kelly's podcast.
Okay, J.D. Vance. Let me just say this. I like Ben Shapiro. But Ben Shapiro, I said this yesterday, I'm going to reiterate it. Ben Shapiro is a Jew first, which, to his credit, his faith is the most important thing to him, and he is a Jew first. I can't besmirch him for that, but I can say this. If you are attacking J.D. Vance, at this point, I don't have any reason to have any negative thoughts about J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is a refined Trump, in my opinion.
Actually, the people, somebody said politically speaking, I saw this earlier, politically speaking right now, they were saying J.D. Vance needs to send all the neocons attacking him a box of flowers because they're actually solidifying him as
the 2028
as the guy.
Yeah. I love J.D. Vance.
And yet
so,
the neocons don't like J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
So they're actually,
it's going to be
they're actually helping him right now.
The 1A, 1B
Vance
choice
Rubio.
that that's what I'm saying. Like the 1A, 1B choice that we have in a couple of years, well, honestly, next year, think about this.
Yeah.
You're going to have to declare in 2027 if you're going to run in 2028. Let's just be honest about that, because some of those the primary start and all of that stuff, 2028 is going to be chaotic. But anyway.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, but we're 1A, 1B with Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance. Ben Shapiro, you're on an island by yourself, and it's just going to be with a bunch of Jews at this point.
Well, it is it is interesting that
what am I going to say?
and all of a
Go
sudden
back there to Jew Island.
Go to Jew Island over
and
there.
all of a sudden,
Whoa!
It'll be well paid for.
some reason. But for some reason, today's podcast is going to get labeled explicit.
I haven't even cussed.
I don't know
I
why.
haven't even cussed.
Our podcast,
Just talking about Jew Island?
yeah.
There'll be lots of diamonds.
Lord have mercy.
Well, anyway, so Shapiro's upset because, Megyn Kelly's supposed to be anathema. Obviously, President Trump, at the height of the criticism of the war, called out Megyn Kelly, called out Tucker Carlson, called out these people. So the fact that JD goes on Megyn's podcast, by the way, is a good show, is a good podcast.
Sure.
And this was part, and I think what we're seeing here is a potential healing, especially in light of the administration's rhetoric, calling out Benjamin Netanyahu the last 2-3 weeks. I was kind of concerned. I was very concerned that the list of people we were no longer supposed to trust or listen to just kept growing and growing and growing from February to now.
Right.
Now, I mean, the latest guy that we now are supposed to never listen to again, according to the neocons, is Jack Posobiec because he's calling Israel ungrateful. And by the way, there's actually a common thread here with J.D. Vance talking about how we're actually in your corner. We're the last people that are still in your corner. You better get on board with the peace. It's very reminiscent of Zelensky, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, in the Oval Office, just being totally ungrateful. Remember that when J.D. Vance dressed him down? It's just kind of a similar thing. These two conflicts are connected.
Well, Zelensky dressed himself down, and
yeah.
then he was dressed down even.
Yes. Oh, that's good.
He was dressed
I
down
like
even
that.
further to that level.
That's good. That's really good. You can't wear a tie.
Came in like a
can't wear a tie.
SpongeBob sweatsuit.
That's really good. But anyway, these two conflicts are connected. Even before the Iran-Israel conflict kicked off, they were already connected because of Iran's relationship with Russia and everything else. And so we don't have to play Shapiro. Here's more from Levin though. So okay. I mean, let's keep going. Mark Levin, this is what he's saying about this on his radio show. He's upset that President Trump said Israel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him in the United States. He said this a couple of times in different ways over the last 48 hours.
I strongly disagree with something the president said today. I heard him say one other time, too, which is if we hadn't attacked Iran, Israel would not exist. It would have been destroyed. That's simply not true. It's simply not true. For 12 days, Israel fought a year ago against the Iranian regime before we did. Destroyed its ground-to-air missiles, destroyed its Soviet and / Russian radar systems, destroyed much of its air force, destroyed much of any of its defenses. For 12 days. We went in on the 13th day with our great bombers and those bombs, and we hit those nuclear sites. But Israel has some very, very powerful weapons that it has not used. I don't know this firsthand. Just go online and read about it. It's a secret that's not so secretive.
Well, the internet is always
And they've had them for
truthful.
decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet.
Israel has nuclear weapons. is what he's saying. And it's a secret because Israel does not submit to the nuclear arms treaty, right? They don't have to because they've never officially come out and said they have nuclear weapons. But I will have you know that in the last Mission Impossible installment, which I recently finished watching,
Oh, very good.
they when the AI is taking control of all the nukes, it goes to the U.S. nukes, the Russia nukes, the Pakistan nukes, and boom, Israel's Star of David right there
They're
on
there.
a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
So yeah. They've got nukes.
Thank you, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. thank you for confirming this secret that is not such a good, not such a well kept secret. But everybody knows that if just like if the U.S. decided to support nuking Iran, or we nuked Iran to end this, we would lose all moral clarity, for moral high ground forever at this point with the status the way it is. Likewise, if Israel decides to nuke them, that's the same thing is going to happen to them, but it's going to be a lot worse in terms of stability.
Well, I've always said that I really think since World War II that nukes have been about deterrence rather than a threat. But at the same time, they've never, as far as we know, other than we don't know how many North Korea has at this point. There's allegedly a certain number, but who can trust numbers that come out of there, right? I remember the Kim Jong-il. Was that who it was? So
I'm Sharon Reed.
I'm Sharon Reed.
Have
you seen Team America World Police?
I was thinking about Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Feel so
Look at Kim Jong-il. Look at him.
Yeah.
Remember?
Why?
Hang on, Charles Barkley did a.
Look it up.
What
man.
did he?
I didn't know.
Awesome.
What did he do?
Charles Barkley on Kim Jong-il.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good.
I never
Like
seen
so,
it.
he just did an impression. Okay, finish your thought, Rob. I'm
So
sorry.
he did. But anyway, Kim Jong-il was obviously the Kim Jong-un's father or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so man, South Park just roasted him in that. He's like, "Why are people so stupid? Why can't people be smart like me?" and it was so dumb. But he literally released this, that he played his first round of golf, 18 holes, and he had 12 holes in one. All right.
Good caddy. Good caddy.
You know what?
Very good caddy.
I've played quite a bit of quite a few rounds of golf, and I will tell you this. I have never hit a hole in one. It is a rare occurrence, and so it's hard to believe any of that propaganda that comes out of there. But suffice it to say, for the most part, nuclear weapons are in hands of people who aren't going to use them. Mm-hmm. I think Iran has always been this wild card to say if they had them, they would use them, and I think that's what the world is really afraid of.
Eric, is this what you're talking about? This right here? Do you know? Is this the Charles Barkley thing you're talking about?
No. Give Dennis Rodman any credit with this whole North Korea situation. He thinks he might deserve some sort of prize.
Inside the NBA, he's like, "He look like Kim Jong-il."
Oh my gosh!
Have you never seen that? Oh
No.
man, it's one of the greatest things ever. Because Frank Caliendo ended up like doing a parody of it.
Okay, so it's this one right here.
Here it is.
Oh, hang on,
Yeah. That's
okay,
it.
Back here on the NBA on TV, first half of the gentlemen. They have the soap opera going on, and then Kobe has this monumental task of trying to be an
That's supposed to be Charles Barkley?
Yes.
But he's
Before
trying.
Ozempic.
Listen, he's trying to do it without blackface, because if he does it with blackface,
look at
then
that. Yeah.
So
We
he's
need to
just
be
trying
all over Kim Jong-il. Kim Jong-il is nuts. He's gonna blow up the world because he's a knucklehead.
Okay, so it wasn't Charles Barkley, it was Frank Caliendo.
Barkley said something, and then Caliendo went with it, and it was just awesome.
He's a knucklehead.
He's a knucklehead.
He's a knucklehead.
That dude look like Kim Jong-il. He's a knucklehead.
Frank Caliendo is incredible. He's one of the best impressionists there of all time.
Yeah, Barkley actually said it though first.
Hey, I want to say this. Did you know that the boss is watching our show right now?
The boss,
Jeremy.
We got
Jeremy is watching our show right
Jeremy
now.
Harold, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
No relation.
Great to see you, sir.
Spelled differently. He's watching our show. He's scoping us out.
All right.
Yeah. Hopefully he's getting some chuckles
We got a
out of us.
good scouting report so far, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So we are gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna talk about why Moscow is burning right now. So like we're on the heels of this peace agreement, right? And then all of a sudden Zelensky, I guess he feels left out, and he's like, I'm still over here.
Yeah, he did the Dr. Evil thing.
Did you just do a cocaine sniff?
He's like,
yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes, I did. All right, so real quick.
That's what's going on in Kiev.
Yeah.
A little booger sugar.
Yeah, stick with us. We will be right back.
All right, folks. Don't go anywhere. Thanks so much.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
I had 5 units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. And they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vive has been fantastic for our bottom line.
My name is John, and this is my beautiful wife, Lori, and this is our Star Wars Ewok. His name is Scout, and we have Scout for about 11 years now, and we started noticing about 3 years ago, he started slowing down. He was unable to jump on the bed. He was kind of a little bit grumpier. And when my daughters, Macy and Mariah, would take him on walks, he would walk for about, 30 yards, and then he'd lay down, and they'd carry him the rest of the way. So I heard about Pet Club 24/7 and about the products from a gentleman that I really trust and share a friendship with. And he mentioned to me that they have products that are going to help him with his arthritis, help him build his immune system. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's try them out. And I kid you guys not, within about 2 to 3 days, we started noticing a little difference. And then we took Scout on a walk probably about a week after we started using the products, the mush puppies, and he would walk the entire way. He would walk at least a mile, and it's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. He's 11 years old, which is around, 80 years in dog years, and he's just happy. He's more energetic. He's not the grumpy old man he used to be, and we're just so thankful. And it was perfect timing because we lost our boxer Yankee about 1.5 years ago, and it was really hard on us. So I'm so thankful for Pet Club 24/7 for the products that they offer. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year. I'm so blessed and thankful that we were able to find this company and find these products for Scout. So thank you guys. Give it a shot. We appreciate you. God bless everyone.
Paul Harrell Program.
And we're back! Thanks so much for being with us. Broadcasting live from Arkansas here on LFA TV. Also, Paul Harrell Program YouTube channel, Facebook. Really do appreciate you guys being with us. We can't do the show without you watching, so thank you. All right, so we talked about the peace agreement. It's been signed. We'll see what happens on Friday. Pray for J.D. Vance that he remains safe and unharmed. Because isn't he supposed to be signing this thing?
Yeah, in Switzerland, I believe, is what the plan is.
Yeah. So he's supposed to be signing this thing. But now we're going to move on to this. We basically, this happens, and then the peace deal happens, and then Moscow is on fire. These were some of the images here. Look at this. It's pretty wild stuff. I mean, this is not like the outskirts of Moscow, I'm told. I mean, this is like in the middle of Moscow. And
okay, that
apparently there was just like a big swarm of drones.
Yeah, big swarm
that
of
came
drones
in and just lit things up.
That probably ticked off.
Look, see this right here? Do you see this? They literally blew the fuel.
Yeah, that's right.
The oil tank.
That was the oil.
Yeah, watch this. Boom! There it goes.
Why are people just standing around watching this?
Jeez.
Run, bruh.
So allegedly, I think I read this somewhere where one of the many cell phone cameras, some guy was like, "Man, I'm so grateful I didn't want to have to go to work today."
That's terrible.
I don't know.
That's terrible.
I don't know if that's true or not
I
at
bet
all.
that dude with a knucklehead.
Terrible. Thank God that bomb threat was actually real.
But that's pretty nuts, man. Like that's that's crazy. And so then we have so we got another clip here. So then they're shooting. So here's one of the drones coming in, and that's Russia's defense system. They're taking it out and then blowing up.
I gotta be honest. It kind of looks
look like
fake.
AI?
It looks fake to me.
You think that's fake?
That looks fake to me. Watch how quickly it falls to the ground.
That's pretty slow to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Y'all are wrong.
I don't know. I mean,
is it sad that we have to question every
I don't know
single
everything.
video
This,
now?
Well, I mean,
this
you
is
know,
the
it
world we
could
live
be.
in.
I mean, with a
the
headline
world we
like
live in.
"Wild footage shows Ukrainian drone being shot down." by
audio or video evidence of any sort of crime,
right? I know,
is basically non-existent anymore.
Null and void now.
Yeah.
Check this out, though. The ape of Gold Street writes, "I don't think people understand the stupidity of striking deep into Russia." How stupid that is, deep into Moscow. The odds of World War III just rised significantly. Have no doubt Russia will not consider this a strike from Ukraine. This is a direct result of NATO interference. NATO European countries have enabled this by backing Ukraine with intelligence weapons, weapon manufacturing, and money. This is simply made possible because of them. This is absolutely nothing to cheer for. The Koch actor is gambling with World War III more than ever, and somehow he is backed by our European leaders doing so. Total idiocy. European people need to understand this because they will soon get stuck in war if not. These are idiots.
The Koch actor.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Like,
this
cocaine.
man. This man starred. He was an actor. He starred in a show where a school teacher. He played a school teacher that becomes the president of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Through a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's amazing how that worked out.
A couple of things here. Donald Trump is in perfect position to just say, "Have at it." And abandon NATO because NATO was not there at all for him, like he asked during the Israel Iran conflict. He even talked about pulling out. Today, Pete Hegseth says that they are not paying their NATO dues until the Europeans pay what they're supposed to pay, not what they can, but what they are supposed to pay in full. So it's a very interesting situation. I also feel like Zelensky knows that if there is peace between Israel and Iran and the United States, that peace with Russia and normalization with Russia is much easier than, say, Iran. And if you normalize relations with Russia and you get peace between Russia and Ukraine, guess what? Zelensky is out of a job. Very similar to Benjamin Netanyahu, because there's people that think that if there is truly peace in Israel, that Benjamin Netanyahu will be convicted on corruption charges.
Well, he's got one of the lowest approval ratings, of
You mean Zelensky?
No, even
Bibi?
Bibi has got just an extremely low approval rating there. So at the very least, he's out of office.
Is the world prepared to see the punitive response from Russia to this?
I don't know, because
I mean, this could get real bad real fast.
Has Putin got truly ticked off in this entire war? And
we talk about tipping points all the time. Is this the straw that'll break?
He's savvy. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I mean, you can try to discount him. You can call him evil. You can say all this stuff, but the man is smart.
Yeah, he is smart. Former KGB, and the whole Western narrative that we get is that their military equipment doesn't work. It's like, no, actually, it's the largest standing army currently in the world right now, like military-ready army on the ground, ready to go. It's the largest one in the world right now. They got a lot of Russians. A lot of Russians have died. Even more Ukrainians have died.
Yeah.
He's not, and he's certainly not going to give up the land. We've established that because he spilled a lot of Russian blood to get what he has gotten.
Yeah.
I think he's actually showed a lot of restraint in terms of what he could have already done. He hasn't done that. He hasn't marched into Kiev yet, right? So I don't know. I don't know.
He could have ended this war in 30 days. I mean, depending on how much destruction he wanted to do. But we talked about it on the show. Like, Paul, his goal, I don't think he wants to destroy the country. He wants the country.
Right.
He wants it back. He wants to reassemble.
Yeah, but look at Moscow
the USSR.
now. That's the thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Eric. You're saying if you've done this to Moscow, we're about to just light up Kiev.
He's about to go on tilt.
It's like World War II with Stalin saying, no one invades Stalingrad, like at all costs, to the last bullet. Like, and this is because that will sink right into the heart of Russia. Isn't that what we're looking at right here? What Zelensky has just done, and is the world prepared for the reaction and the the punitive response from Putin? I don't know. I mean, wow.
How swift will it be? I think my prediction yesterday was right, though. I mean, I think my prediction was if we get peace in the Middle East, that's next, and Zelensky knows it. And so, was it Zelensky per se, or was it the NATO? Was it, the forces in NATO that don't want Russia to get a W here? They don't want this to just end with him getting the Donbass and the eastern provinces of Ukraine. I don't know, but it just seems like sabotage to me. I mean, it seems like we were almost close to world
ready
peace.
To celebrate.
And because I'm telling you, if you normalize relations with Iran, and I know people don't want to use that phrase, but if you look at the memorandum of understanding, if you're giving them sanctions relief, and they're going to get loans to rebuild their country or whatever, or rebuild their military or however they use it, then how do you not have normal relations with Russia? Because Russia is way more predictable and rational. You may disagree with them, but they're way more rational than, say, the irrationality of Iran. And by the way, a lot of people think that the irrationality of Iran is organized irrationality. It's so decentralized, they're made to look crazier than they are. Not to say they're not crazy, but they're made to look that way to the outside world because confusion is your ally in a situation when you're surrounded by Western enemies, or you're the target of Western enemies. But I'm just saying, like, how do you not normalize relations with Russia if you're going to deal with Iran this way? And I think there are people that are still not wanting that to happen.
Well, and I also think that normalize is a subjective word. Like, what does it mean? Because I think that normalized relationships with Russia might be different than a normalized relationship with, say, Mexico or, someone that we would consider more of a closer ally. Normalized in terms of, hey, we're willing to trade, and as long as you, act fairly and logically, and more importantly, sanely, then we're willing to what's the word? Barter with you. We're willing to work with you on this or that, and that's going to be good for both economies. Everybody wants into the United States economy. If you're a business and you're global, you want to make sure that you're in the United States economy. And I think that Vladimir Putin cares about.
Hang on, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I was just going to say, I think that Vladimir Putin cares about making sure that he's got an incredibly healthy, vibrant country, and for that he's got to have money, and he can make a certain amount of money from oil, all of that stuff. He can make a certain amount of money from trading with the the quote unquote evil axis of power here. But if he can get into the world economy in terms of getting into the United States a little bit more ingrained there, I think he would want to do that.
To your point, Eric, I agree with you, Rob. To your point, Eric, look at that. Look at the destruction right there. Those are houses. Those are the tops of houses of civilian homes
in Moscow.
That have been totally destroyed. Well, at least the tops have been totally destroyed.
Interesting.
So this is not the targeting of just energy infrastructure, which they were.
Or soldiers.
This is not military infrastructure.
That's right.
Those look like houses. Those look like citizens of Russia.
Yeah.
So to your point, Russia's response is going to be tremendous. Tremendous may not be the great word. But
we all agree
substantial.
that Ukraine has
Get
the
ready.
right to do this. Do we not? Do we all agree that Ukraine has the right
Strike
to
into
do
the
this?
heart of Moscow with drone attacks on civilians?
I'm not trying to say that.
I mean,
I'm not trying to say all that.
war.
I'm trying to say
They're at war. Generally,
that's
you
what I
try
mean.
not to target civilians during war.
Sure. But there's no reports that they were specifically targeting.
Right. They could have just been going after the oil.
Correct. And so I think they wanted to strike Moscow because that is, it's the capital. It's the heart of it. It's
they want Russia to respond, and then they want NATO and the U.S. to condemn Russia's response because this is almost. If you're Zelensky and you want to, if you're Zelensky and and all you care about is staying in power, because if the war ends, you lose power, and who knows? I mean, maybe even people come after you because of the way you run your country.
Yeah.
If you're Zelensky, though, what you've effectively done is you've targeted deep into Russia, so you get a response, which is going to mean more Ukrainians get killed, so that the war continues and you stay in power. I know that sounds like really, like I'm not giving Zelensky the benefit of the doubt at all, because I think he's a thug and is a total sociopath.
But if it's hey, the United States is really not going to send a whole lot more money to the Middle East, we'd like to have that money. That goes to your point of being an opportunistic attacker at this phase, and he's just trying to say, hey, I want to go ahead and just get to the heart of Russia.
Well,
let's see if I think you
get
some more money.
did you accidentally said don't send money to the Middle East, and you meant to say Ukraine? Or were
No. I think if that's wrapping up there, then Trump is, and he's having sort of a standoffish moment with the Middle East, like, hey, we're wrapping this thing up. We're not going to continue to fund this. We're not going to continue to attack Iran. Then where do those neocon dollars go?
Where do they go? Well,
where does that military industrial complex focus next?
That is a great. That's the nail on the head right there, because Ukraine is essentially a corrupt country for a reason. It's a money laundering depot, and I think that's one of the reasons why Europe is so invested in continuing Ukraine to be what it is, because I honestly believe that a lot of the money laundering through the NGOs and everything else come through Ukraine, go to enrich European oligarchs, and I even think rig European elections, because elections don't rig themselves. You have to pay someone to do it. And I think the people of Europe don't have leaders that they've actually voted for in majority. I really do believe.
Do we have leaders that we've voted for in majority? At this point, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
At this point, it's hard to know.
Exactly. So I think this is the truth. But to your point,
who was it that said that it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter about the votes. It just matters who counts the votes.
the votes. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was, but
Mr. Artificial Intelligence. So, but Dominic Michael Trippi says Israeli officials believe President Trump could potentially delay weapons shipments or impose an arms embargo on Israel in the future if Netanyahu won't withdraw forces from Lebanon. So that's now what the Israeli press is saying. And that would be it'll be interesting to see how Congress reacts if that actually happens in order to secure peace and open up the economy. Because now, honestly, if we're real about this, because this leads us to this next story, Thune admits some Senate Republicans hate Trump too much to support Save America Act.
Yeah.
So
I saw this.
These Republicans, though, at this point, some of them, I'm going to assume, want to sabotage the deal so that the economy continues to suffer, so that Trump suffers.
It's the Cassidys and the Cornyn's of the world.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
It's a mutiny.
You can see a scenario here where it's not just about the SAVE Act anymore. If this is true, which it is, that they hate Trump and hate his voters, they may throw an absolute fit, do everything they can to torpedo the deal so that the economy still suffers and Trump is blamed for it. And it doesn't ever recover.
And it just goes back to what we've been saying. I've been saying it for almost 2 years now, Paul. Or a year. How long have we been doing this show? A little over a year.
Yep.
A little over a year. So We've been doing this for a little over a year, and I've been saying it the whole time. I don't think that the Republicans mind not being in power. I think that they like it in terms of, they can push some legislation that sends money to their donors, and that money in turn comes back to them. I think they like that. They love that. But they're not so ideologically ingrained in what's right that they're going to allow Trump to have these victories, these people that have something so negative against him that, like, I can't let Trump have this victory. I can't let him take the credit for this. We're going to do what we want to do, and we'll live to fight another day whenever Trump is not in office anymore. Yeah. And I think that that's what they look at. They can raise money. In my opinion, you can raise a lot more money when you're in the minority.
Yes, you can.
Fighting.
And then getting elected and never doing anything.
Correct.
It's pathetic. So this report says, in part, over at the Daily Caller, Senate Majority Leader John Thune admitted some Republicans in the Senate hate President Trump so much, too much, to support the SAVE Act. Multiple sources familiar with the comments told the Daily Caller. Thune admitted during a closed-door GOP lunch on Wednesday that some Republican senators oppose President Donald Trump so strongly that they will never vote for the Save America Act, regardless of the legislation.
Attack Mike Lee for it.
Yep, legislation's merits, according to several sources. Goodness. The discussion quickly escalated into a heated exchange between Republican Utah Senator Mike Lee, the bill's chief Senate sponsor, and several of his GOP colleagues. Republican Texas Senator John Cornyn.
Shut up, you're out of a job.
And Thune both challenged Lee's push for the legislation, and people are saying, yeah, that totally happened, although Majority Leader Thune denies the admission and says this is a baseless claim, and it is unequivocally true. Let me say this. If John Thune was on President Trump's side, why would he deny this? Because I believe the report. I think it's true. If he was on Trump's side, he would say, yeah, this is true.
Yeah, we've got some people that just won't get on board.
Yeah, why would he ever? And so Thune denies this only to protect people that are out of a job anyway.
Yeah.
Come January, what is wrong with this man?
It is. I hate Trump so much because we talked about this yesterday. John Thune was Mitch McConnell's hand-picked successor, which tells me all I need to know, right? If you've got a Rick Scott from Florida, this, dynamite arrow being shot into the swamp, shot into this, these establishment Republicans. If you've got somebody like that as your option, the American people voted for that sort of approach, not this John Thune approach. And I said it yesterday, if you want Scott Pressler in your state, continue on this path, John Thune, because he's there. He's already said, if you don't pass this Save America Act before in time for it to be implemented for the midterms, which I seriously doubt is even a possibility at this point,
right?
Then you're going to be primaried. Is it North Dakota or South Dakota that he's?
South Dakota. Is Thune.
Thune is in South Dakota. You're going to be primaried. You might be popular now, but let a Scott Pressler come in there and take you out. A gay man is going to come into South Dakota and put you out of a job. Why? Because he is trying to advocate for the will of the American people. You were elected to do that, and you're not doing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. They just hate us all. They hate us all. And what they do, not what they say, but with their actions, they hate us. They don't love their people, their voters. They actually hate them. Mm-hmm. W. Wilson, 1964, writes, exactly, Paul, stop the money to them and the war ends. This is just in general. This is any war that we're fighting by proxy, whether it's the Middle East but I think specifically this is about Ukraine. Wilson also says, no, Ukraine is wrong on all levels. He is a grifter to make things worse. And I would certainly agree with that. Mike Cernovich on this story with John Thune says, the Senate was always the enemy. They hate Trump and even more so his voters. So this is the state of things. And I don't know what you do. I think President Trump knows that they hate him. And that's why now he's put him in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
If you want FISA, if you want your precious government surveillance that has been abused on the American people and President Trump, then you're gonna put it on the SAVE Act. That's what you're gonna do. And until then, I'm not letting Jay Clayton get confirmed.
Yeah.
This is like hard-nosed stuff that I'm glad to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
He ticked off some people on that one.
He did, including our Republican senator from
Tom
the state of
Cotton
Arkansas.
No, yeah, well, I
Tom
mean,
John Kennedy and all of them.
Which I love John Kennedy, so it's hard for me to believe that that I would ever disagree with him about anything. But if he is against the SAVE Act, if he is against implementing this thing that 84% to 87%, depending on what poll you look at, that they're in favor of, then John Kennedy, you're wrong. Because you were elected to go to the Senate on behalf of Louisiana, which is a conservative state it's a red state with blue pockets here, with New Orleans and some other
significantly
some other
less official blue pockets now that they redistricted.
Hallelujah,
Yeah.
hallelujah! And we need to talk about that one day, Paul. We need to talk about like what this is going to look like at the current maps, because I believe that was it Georgia was shot down. There's some other places where these maps were not being implemented. So we have like what could have been, and
versus what will be, but it's going to take another cycle, 2028, before it actually materializes.
Very frustrating to have that, and it may be too late, because what if the Democrats come in and they just get just a really big majority and the Save America Act doesn't get passed? What do we do? What do we do? I think you're wasting this opportunity. Again, I said it yesterday, the only big, strong piece of legislation that they can hang their hat on leading into the midterms is the big beautiful bill. A lot of stuff in there. Don't want to discount that whatsoever. But I say this, what have you done for me lately?
I mean, if they want to win the midterms, they pass the SAVE Act, but there's Republicans that don't, like you said, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to win the midterms, they could codify banning child genital mutilation, codify it, standalone bill, pass it, Trump will sign
You're
it.
going to get conservative and liberal mothers.
And honestly,
on that.
we could champion that from now until the election.
Yeah.
Hey, look at what our country was going through with the woke sex religion. They were cutting children up and calling it health care, and now the federal government has banned that.
Special place in hell.
Not just the executive order that was strong, but they've actually banned it.
Yeah.
But they won't do that. But if they did, they would easily have something to be like, hey, this is a real world thing. We have saved kids' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't done it yet because the donors, I'm told, don't want to actually ban child genital mutilation for some strange reason.
It's not strange. There's too much money to be had there. Like, hey, let these parents hack their kids up. That's what they're doing, because it's worth a lot of money to these people. And again, I say this as clearly as I can say it. There is a special, extra warm seat for you in hell if you will participate. Ooh, I'm censoring myself. Participate in child mutilation surgery.
It is something I can't believe that we've done, and honestly, this is one of the reasons why public executions, I believe, have to be brought back.
And T. Mitchell in our comments says that
after you're tried and convicted, of course,
if we keep having representatives not represent our values and not enact the will of the people, martial law is coming soon. I mean, it could be.
We were talking about a version of this. Me and Eric were before you got here today. Actually, we'll rehash that later in the show. Brianna Morello, this is an interesting decision. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, has struck down the federal prohibition on guns for people who regularly use marijuana. What do you know about that? What do you think about that? Being high and armed,
with your pew pew,
and well armed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I like beer, and I'm not banned from having a gun. You know, I don't understand why you have to. So in Arkansas, we have medical marijuana. You know, that's legal, and if you have a concealed carry license here in the state of Arkansas, which is not necessary to have a gun, as we both know.
You mean the license?
Yeah, correct. The license is not required to have that, and I can't remember when that changed. Was that always a thing?
Oh, I know the story.
You know this? You covered this?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
You want to know?
I had a concealed carry permit for a long time because it was required, but then now when I went to renew it, they're like, nah, you don't need that.
It's a really funny story.
Save your money. You don't need to take that test again.
It's a really funny story how Arkansas got constitutional carry and basically eliminated the permit process, which was a giant revenue generating thing for the Arkansas State Police.
Yeah.
Because you guys didn't hear anything about it, did you? Until it was, years later, right?
Yeah. Until I went for my renewal and thought I was going to have to do fingerprints again and do all that stuff and pay the money.
So we do have an enhanced carry license that allows you to be able to carry in like courtrooms and stuff like that. So that is still a thing. But we have constitutional carry because back when Arkansas, it was during the Obama administration, Arkansas still had a Democrat governor by the name of Mike Beebe. And Republicans were kind of growing and I think we had just taken the majority, actually, in the House. So there was a Republican state representative by the name of Denny Altis, who...
Altis, okay.
Yeah, Altes. I believe that's his name. And what he did was he got into the gun statutes and changed one word and essentially decriminalized. It basically made.
Are you sure it's
Altis? Yeah.
Okay, because I met a guy at our realtor banquet. His last name's Loggins.
Oh no! That you're talking about Tim. That's Tim Loggins. He had a lot to do with getting legislation later clarifying this. But this was back in 2013, 14, somewhere in there. This was a long time ago. Okay, this is a long time ago, and it actually took. So I know I'm rambling, but this guy just changed a few words. Okay, and everybody was quiet about it because they said this is a typical tactic in the Arkansas legislature, and I'm sure in other legislatures. Yeah, this bill is just to clean up some language.
Yeah,
and it got passed through one committee, got passed through one chamber, got passed through another committee, got passed through another chamber, and it was signed by Governor Mike Beebe. And then everybody shut up. Nobody said anything, and everybody waited till July. Session ended in April. The law doesn't take effect till July, and everyone is just twiddling their thumbs. And then it passed, and now the law basically said, essentially it decriminalized possession of a firearm to, there is no law that says you, Rob Spencer, can sit on your front porch and drink sweet tea. There's no law that allows you to do that, but there's no law that says you can't. And so you are now in Arkansas guilty of possession of a firearm if the government can prove that you have the intent to commit a crime. Now think about just carrying a gun in Arkansas, you are only guilty of possession of a firearm if they can prove that you are intending to commit a crime. So
they'd have to have the Minority Report people
essentially
or hooked up to the brain scanners or something like that.
Pull you over and there's a text message on your phone. I'm on my way to kill you. You know, and so everybody tried to pretend like this wasn't happening. This was years we had, and so then there were court challenges. There were people arrested, for carrying a gun. Everybody was like, open carry's a thing. We couldn't get Arkansas State Police to admit it was a thing, and then we finally got court rulings where people were charged, and the prosecutors were dropping cases left and right, and then eventually you had a judge. A judge ruled against it and said, actually, no, this is legal. This is constitutional. Like, he was not in violation of law just for having a weapon. So in Arkansas, you can carry concealed and you can carry open. And it was all thanks to a brave Republican legislator who changed a little bit of language and got a Democrat governor to sign it. And now it's the Wild West and people are dying like flies. No, that's not happening.
That it even happened,
yeah. So anyway,
that's extremely interesting. So I did not know that because I got my concealed carry license not because I felt like I needed it. This was 2018, so 8 years ago, I got it but that was like the first time that I had a handgun. So I had I'd had guns in the past or whatever, at least been exposed to them, and but this was the first time I was going to kind of carry a handgun as a real estate agent because sometimes as somebody that's 6'4", 250 pounds, I can be lulled into a false sense of security because of my size, right? Like, who's going to attack me, right? But if they see me as gettable, then they're going to do that. But anyway, criminals, right? So I want to make sure, that it's one of those things where I was protected, and so I got my concealed carry license, and mostly because I wanted to take the class. But my whole reason that we went down on this side note here is that their only restriction is that I'm not supposed to carry my gun if I go into a bar, right? And so if I go into a bar, and I'm not talking about a restaurant that has a bar. It's just if it's just a bar, right?
Okay.
If I'm not supposed to carry my gun in there, because what happens in there? There's alcohol and all of that stuff. But I've been a beer drinker my whole life. I'm a beer drinker. That's probably why I can't get rid of my gut. It's just because I like beer. There's no restriction on me having a gun if I've just had some drinks with lunch or dinner or whatever. There's no restriction on it. There have been a lot of people who have gotten rage behind them while they were drinking and shot and killed somebody.
Yeah,
we all understand that. I've never heard of someone being high on marijuana.
Yeah,
that's been like, I'm extremely angry. I'm going to shoot you, because it's usually the opposite, right? Like,
give me a bag of Cheetos.
Yeah, it's like, listen.
Yeah, they might go rob a convenience store. Give me all your snacks.
Give me all your snacks. Right. Well, I've got some money here. I don't want the money. Nope. Just the Cheetos. No, and I can't stand the smell of weed. I can't stand it. It's called skunk weed for a reason. Like, it smells, it's just awful. I can't stand the smell of it. I don't like the time that I tried it when I was 20 years old, which is, so 26 years ago. Like, I didn't like it. I didn't like anything about it. My whole point of it is, there's no reason in my mind, just because you have a medical marijuana card, that you should not have some sort of
give
legal...
up your right to protect yourself and your family.
Because what's next, right? What's next? And they say, oh, well, if you got a misdemeanor traffic violation...
Misdemeanor?
Misdemeanor? Yeah, misdemeanor.
Yeah,
that's what that sounds like.
Is that what I sound like? I don't know. But, obviously, like, if you're a felon, you can't have a gun.
Right.
If you can't have a felon. But I also think that there should be certain levels of felonies, because you could have a felony, like, if you, embezzled money. I'm not advocating for that, but let's just say you
lose your
you lose your right to a gun, and it's just like, okay, but that's not the same as felony beating your wife.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called, assault.
Yeah, a
or
lot
battery.
of times the laws don't make sense. Let me give you an example.
Let
me give you an example that laws don't make sense. You remember when all the rage was, especially all the Yankee states? They're like, oh, you better quit, hands free. You better quit, doing this when you're going down the road. Better do hands free, or texting while driving, or on your phone while driving. And you know what we did? We put iPads, giant iPads, in all the new cars.
Yeah.
Now explain how that makes any sense at all.
You got a 30-inch screen up here.
It just doesn't make any sense at all. Like, don't text and drive. Don't have the phone in your hand while you drive. And instead, now we have the biggest distraction you could have.
Well, and even more importantly, Paul, it's not just the screen. Is that with every year that passes, there are fewer buttons. Yeah. Like, you've got to go. So I've got a 2024 F-150 Raptor. It's got like heating and air and all this. It's all buttons, and I love that. My wife has a 2025 Ford Expedition. It has put everything into like the screen. There's all these buttons just to do the tilt of the steering wheel whenever I drive
and
it.
it's all electronic.
It's all electronic.
It's all touch screen, is what.
Which means that my eyes are off the road while I'm pointing and pushing at this screen, all in the matter of convenience and safety and all that stuff. You just give me a button.
Yeah.
Give me a button. Because if I know where that button's at, and I know that it's the second button from the left, right? Because I drive my vehicle every day. If I know that is the second button from the left, then I can push that without even looking at it.
Yeah.
And let's not even forget the fact that I used to because I thought it was cool when I was young, smoke cigarettes. Smoking a cigarette while drinking a Dr. Pepper and changing the CD in my CD player while I was driving a standard transmission vehicle.
I remember that one, and you're just like,
So I got
it out and put the other one in.
I got a cigarette, a candy bar. I got a cigarette. I got a candy bar. I got a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, I got a cigarette, I got a candy bar, I got a Dr. Pepper, and I'm changing out my latest mix CD here. And while I'm shifting gears, because I got a standard transmission Ford Ranger, like all of that was safe. Never had a wreck there.
Yeah.
But
driving a car is actually not that hard, and also texting while driving is actually quite easy if you are just competent at it. But don't text and drive, kids. Eric wants to say something.
I do not.
No.
But I'm about to tell myself
Okay,
here
Eric,
if you're going to make me.
Here, I'm going to try to guess.
We want to hear it.
All right.
I think I know what Eric is going to say.
Okay.
And I think Eric is going to say that he's so old that he had a cassette tape player in his car and not a CD player.
Negative.
Okay, what is it then? What do you want to say?
I'm older than you two guys.
Oh, I thought Eric was older.
No,
than,
I'm the oldest.
Late 90s era. My brother and I got big into custom audio installations.
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
So
you're one of those guys.
Yes.
JBL
Where
audio.
this is going? Here's where this is going. I was never changing discs because I had a 10-disc changer underneath my seat installed. So I would pull out this little booklet thing, and it had 10 discs you could put in it, and so. That's for any
what it
amount of
was.
travel. There was no distraction from those
Yeah.
with those CDs.
You mean these Hanes?
Not to mention,
there's no. You don't want these Hanes.
15-inch Fishers
right.
were going
just bouncing, rattling your windows. Listen,
my goodness.
and you're just like,
I can't
think
believe you're
Southeast Missouri's finest, baby.
I think
that's great.
I think CD2 is Pearl Jam 10. I'm feeling some Pearl Jam. Let's do it.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
10-disc changer.
That's fantastic, though.
10. I only saw the 6. I guess I was poor.
I had the Kenwood system right there on front too, where you detached the face to whenever you left to go in somewhere, so that it couldn't get stolen out of your car.
What you also have? What is that? You also have one of those steering wheel locks. What were those called? In case you got carjacked. What was that called?
It
looked like a big coat hanger, like in a weird
infomercial or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So, are you guys familiar with the case where during the Biden administration, the ATF broke into the head of the Little Rock, or they stormed the head of the Little Rock Airport's personal residence and shot and killed him?
No.
Did you not? You never heard about this story? This is actually a pretty big story. So there's now a lawsuit that's going forward because of a wrongful death. The guy's name was Malinowski. This headline here from yesterday on the ABC affiliate out of Little Rock. Malinowski lawsuit over fatal ATF raid moves forward as judge lets most claims proceed. A federal judge has allowed most of the Maria Malinowski, that's his wife's, lawsuit against the federal government move forward, denying a motion to dismiss 8 of the 9 claims brought under the Federal Tort Claims Act in connection with the ATF raid that resulted in the death of her husband, Brian Malinowski. The ruling permits the case to proceed into discovery, where both sides can gather evidence, request documents, and take sworn testimony as the facts of the case are further developed. The lawsuit does not dispute that ATF agents were executing a valid search warrant. According to court records, the warrant was related to allegations that Brian Malinowski was selling firearms without a federal license. The central issue in the case concerns how the warrant was carried out and what occurred during the execution of the search. Apparently he was a gun collector. Mm-hmm. Court filings, the kind of thing that you want to gather together a whole SWAT team for. Court filings state that agents arrived at the home before dawn, covered a doorbell camera, knocked, and announced their presence before forcing entry into the residence. After entry, Brian Malinowski fired a shot, and an ATF agent returned fire, fatally striking him. The federal government has argued that Malinowski's actions initiated the deadly encounter and that the claim should be dismissed as a result. The court, however, found that several key facts remain disputed and cannot be resolved at this stage of the proceeding. Those include questions about how clearly agents identified themselves as law enforcement, how much time passed between announcement and entry, and what Malinowski understood at the time of the shooting. Because of those unresolved factual issues, the court allowed claims including wrongful death, negligence, assault and battery, emotional distress, and additional Arkansas statutory claims to proceed. So this is actually what happened. This is back on July 17th. I think this is a while ago. I don't think this is as of yesterday, but maybe it is. how ATF agents killed Arkansas Airport Director Malinowski. So this is a big story where it just looks like they basically, essentially, they just handled this all wrong, doing a raid in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and they just bust down the door. What are you going to do in that instance? Most of us, and this is one of my great fears, most of us are going to grab our firearms to protect our family. And if they haven't clearly announced themselves, or they cover up the doorbell cameras. I mean, if they cover up the doorbell cameras, you don't even know, you don't know what to expect at that point, right? This could literally be an armed robber. But ATF agent Tyler Cowart shot Malinowski in the head last year. He died 2 days later. His widow, Mayor Malinowski, recently filed a wrongful death lawsuit. None of the Department of Justice officials involved were willing to discuss it. Assistant U.S. Attorney Lindsay Mitchum Lawrence, who is defending the ATF in the lawsuit, was unwilling to talk Wednesday. So anyway, this is a big deal, and I think the ATF is going to end up. I think they're going to end up paying, but I also think we're going to get a lot more information as to exactly what was going on and what was the mindset to raid this guy who's a white collar employee, the head of the highest paid employee in the state of Arkansas, and then something like this happens to him, and he's a gun collector.
I think, man, I got a couple of things. Number one, I'm like Malinowski. I can't think of that. I'm sorry, it's not right. But all I think about is Monsters Inc.
The eyeball.
The eyeball. His name was
Billy Crystal's character.
Yeah.
Ron Jaworski or something. Or no, wait, that's a
no. It was Malinowski.
That's a football player.
It was. Look that up while I say my second point. Can
I just give more context real quick?
Sure, please.
In December 2023, the ATF opened an investigation and began following Brian to and from work on the weekends, placing a tracker on his car and surveilling his daily activities. During the investigation, at least 2 agents acting undercover interacted with Brian at a gun show in Arkansas. Brian answered one of the undercover agents' inquiries by noting that he was a private seller, meaning he believed he did not need to follow FFL, which is, the federal regulations. Yeah. During their investigation, ATF learned a lot about Brian. They knew he worked in a secure environment at the airport where guns were not allowed. They knew he had lived a law-abiding life with no criminal history. Brian had no reason to believe that he was under investigation for violating the law. Brian never received a letter of inquiry, an audit, a personal visit, a request, or nothing. They just basically set this guy up to prosecute him. And instead of letting him know, hey, what you're doing is wrong, they raid the guy's house and shoot him in the head.
Wow.
Okay, this is unacceptable behavior by any metric.
Why does the ATF... Wazowski. Yeah, so Mike Wazowski. That's what it was. And what's this person's name?
Walanowski.
Okay, thank you.
Malinowski.
Yeah, I wasn't totally off. Mike Wazowski versus... Anyway, that's just ridiculous considering the circumstances here where my brain goes. But regardless, wasn't this covered in the court cases? I don't know. How long ago was this, Paul?
This was in 2024. No. I'm sorry. On April 11, 2024, less than a month after the ATF raid that killed Brian. So it wasn't. Yeah. So it was in the Biden administration. 2024.
I would like to know what that is in terms of the court case where it went to the Supreme Court that said. I'm just trying to remember this off the top of my head, that these agencies do not have the power that they think that they do because they are to serve under the
Chevron doctrine.
Excuse me. Thank you. Like, they don't have that power, and what they're doing is the ATF has all these rules. When they're coming up there and trying to say, "Oh, we just want to check to make sure this is not a shoestring purchase of these." These weapons. We just need to. All we got to do is just see that you got them, and then we move on. What authority do you have? I purchased these legally. I had a background check. It went in there and it said, "Hey, I just bought a Beretta A300 and for home defense shotgun, and I had to go through a background check to make sure that I had it. That's all I needed." That's all I needed because that's what the law says. But if the ATF shows up on my doorstep and says, "Hey, we just need to make sure that you have this," We want to make sure that you didn't buy this and sell it to somebody else. What authority do you have? The Supreme Court said you don't have that authority. And so they're raiding why is the ATF raiding anybody? Why does this organization have this power? Why does it even exist?
And keep in mind too, this was a search warrant. It wasn't even an arrest warrant. And so that's another thing on this. And what I think was going on here, and I haven't paid enough attention to this case as I should have, even though it happened in my home state. On April 11th, 2024, less than a month after the ATF raid that killed Brian, the ATF announced a new rule to close the gun show loophole and expand the definition of what it meant to be engaged in the business of selling firearms, newly requiring anyone who sells a gun at a profit to register as a federally licensed firearm dealer. So you know what this was, don't you? This was the FBI hoping to get a big profile arrest from some white-collar airport director.
Yeah.
The media was going to run with it nationally and federally. We got him. The gun show, and then the next month they're going to say, see, this is why we need to close the gun show loophole.
It's just ridiculous.
That's why they targeted him.
All of it is about that.
That's why they targeted him, and that's why it's dead. That's why he's dead. That's why he lost his life. They were literally creating news. They were creating news out of thin air to then justify clamping down on your gun rights at gun shows, and a man is dead because of it, because the left and the Biden administration are full of communists, and these same communists, many of them have still not been fired. They're still in the Trump administration today, and I hope that the ATF and the federal government have to pay out the you-know-what, because this is incredible. But just looking at this and looking at the timeline, they were the FBI and the ATF and all these organizations, we've been saying it for a while, you don't exist to solve crimes. You exist to create crimes and then cover them up when you get caught. And that's what's going on here, and it's disgusting.
I agree with you. I don't know that I can add
It's another false flag.
It's like the SPLC.
It's another false flag.
Yeah.
We are being false flagged by these intel oligarchs constantly, and law enforcement oligarchs. And they've been caught.
I don't know that I have anything else to add to that other than
create the problem to justify the solution.
In my opinion, if the FBI is doing a background check on someone, the ATF has no value. I do not know why this three-letter agency even exists.
Rob, I know you got to run. We're going to take a break, but I know you're out for the rest of the day, but I appreciate you
glad to be
on.
here when I can, guys.
Awesome.
Enjoyed the conversation.
So, Erica, can you stick around for a little bit? Because I wanted to talk about that Adam Carolla clip. I wish Rob could be here for that.
I do too.
Because that's going to be an interesting situation. We're going to talk about Adam Carolla. He had this clip.
I love him.
It's really good, but I'm going to challenge it a little bit, but in a weird way, I guess we'll say. I've got to be contrarian. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to be back here in just a moment.
For centuries, light has been used to heal. Awaken the body with Red Vive.
I had 5 units that I purchased for the practice right out of the chute. Well, those went the first week that I got back to Houston. So then we ordered another 5 and then another 5. And I think over the next, 6 to 8 weeks, we had ordered like 35 units. And they're gone. They're still gone out of the practice. So we're excited about moving more of these units for our patients because they need them. And so when you bring in new technology and your staff's thinking, oh, this is another thing that I need to handle during the day, I think it's a good idea to give them a little incentive. And I do it as a team. So if one person does well, the whole team does well. So they all support each other. And they got really excited about that. They love it. They'll bring a unit in, turn it on, put it on the patient's foot or leg, and they'll tell the patients, be sure to talk to Dr. Parker about red light therapy. And the patient will say, red light therapy, I've heard of that, And so I'll walk in and my nurse is she'll tell me, I've spoken to Mrs. Jones about this red light therapy, and she's really excited about it. So Red Vive has been fantastic for our bottom line.
This is our family dog, Bubba. He is a Shorty Jack Russell, and he brings a lot of love and laughter into our home. We just want to thank Pet Club for making healthy food and treats for our animals. Bubba has been on Pet Club food for a little over a year now. He really likes the Sequoia dry food, and then I put a scoop of the Sequoia wet dog food in there with some hot water and stir it up, and he absolutely loves it. And he likes the mush puppies, but his ultimate favorite is the antlers. Those keep him busy for a really long time, and he really likes them. It makes us feel really good that the food and treats that we give him have healthy ingredients in them, because we want him to be around for a really long time. Our previous dog was a lab, and his name was Titus, and we fed him in bulk, and we would just get his food from the big box grocery stores. And unfortunately, that food wasn't very healthy for him, and he ended up getting cancer and passing away. So we didn't want to make that mistake with Bubba, so we were really fortunate to find Pet Club and find some really healthy food for him to eat. So we would just like to thank Pet Club, and we just really appreciate the healthy food that they make, so we can keep this guy around as long as we can.
The Paul Harrell Program.
Okay. Welcome back to the show. Thanks so much. I'm sorry. All right, so what do we got next? We got, about a half an hour left in the show. So let's talk about Belfast, shall we? Real quick, just to give you a quick update on what's going on there. Hang on one second. Oh, look, he was there, but now he's gone. So we got an empty chair. Let me replace him with you. There we go, Eric.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so this is a, okay, no, that's the ATF. Here's this. Look at this Substack post by a guy named Connor Tomlinson. So we have something similar here in America, like the civil rights action or something. It needs to be totally abolished. But so Belfast is ablaze. He writes, Belfast is ablaze after Sudanese asylum seeker Hadi Alodid attempted to behead Stephen Ogilvy, leaving him hospitalized and blinded in the middle of the street. Houses have been set on fire, migrants attacked by men in black, and Turkish barbers smashed up by mobs of angry Ulstermen. But the state has responded by convincing the Ogilvy family to release a statement saying, quote, unrest is not welcome and peaceful protest is the only way forward. Unite Against Racism mobilized a demonstration in the city over the weekend. These are the typical damage control tactics of the RICU, the Don't Look Back in Anger department of the Home Office. That's what they call it. So they have, as you're being, as your kids are being killed and your daughters are being raped and grown men are having their heads chopped off or attempted to have their heads chopped off, don't worry, the government is there with their Don't Look Back in Anger department of the Home Office, which the British state uses to gaslight the public after terror attacks and racially charged stabbings, telling them not to spread division or inflame community tensions. Prefabricated hashtags circulate online. Community liaison officers coerce victims' families into making statements containing inclusive language. By the way, that's exactly what Austin Metcalf's dad did originally.
Yeah.
He came out and said it's not about race, but have you heard what Austin Metcalf's dad is saying now?
Mm-hmm.
He's actually come out with a ton of rage and has coined the term watermelon felon.
Oh, yeah.
And people are saying he did it because he wanted to make sure that he got a conviction, that his son's murderer was convicted. But I don't know. But the bottom line is America has similar organizations that try to do this. Prefabricated hashtags circulate online. Community liaison officers coerce victims' families into making statements containing inclusive language, including Henry Nowak's Imams and activists are bussed to the scene of the disaster to perform controlled spontaneity events, such as the crowd singing "Don't Look Back in Anger" at the vigil for the Manchester Arena bombing. The state wants to deprive you of feeling grief and rage anytime one of the violent minorities is brought into our country, kills or maims our children. If you look back in anger, you might blame the communities that produce the perpetrators of such atrocities and the politicians and civil servants who brought them here in the first place. So I'm going to finish the article up, but I just want to add, so not only will they put you in jail if you talk about it online, they're now running psychological operations. That's what this is. They are psychologically operating against their own people to make them like and appreciate the violence.
Right.
We have to build up immunity to their psychological warfare. That's what he says. I literally didn't know that was there. We can't let them use grieving families as human shields to deflect blame away from their deadly policies. It's time to look back in anger. RICU, RICU, must be disbanded, all of its staff imprisoned, and its decades of manipulation laid bare for the public to see. Again, that's as a guy writing named Connor Tomlinson, the Substack Tomlinson Talks. You got to wonder, is he going to get arrested? I don't even know where he lives. I'm not exactly sure if this guy's in America or not, but Jeff Younger, friend of the show, actually writes on this. He's the one that sent this to me. As I've said many times in person even, the real lessons for modern dissidents are encoded in the 20th century history of the Irish Troubles. Interesting. It's very fascinating to see what Ireland is going to do next. We talked about that yesterday on the show. You know, fathers making this calculation of risk of do I take action and potentially abandon my family by getting killed or being imprisoned?
Right.
And when you get to a situation, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because do you do threat assessments as well? I mean, because I think about this stuff all the time, and I don't want to do anything to abandon my family. I don't want to do anything. But when fathers get to the point where they realize I've got to risk abandoning my family through imprisonment or death in order to give the family the best shot at success in the future, then you have revolution.
Yeah. Yeah. I as I was listening to you guys yesterday while I was on the road, I was thinking about Taken.
Yes.
The movie. You know, and every dad wants to think that they're going to be Liam Neeson.
I have a very special set of skills
in those situations, and we sometimes let our emotions get the best of us. But it's tough not to think in such a carnal level and such a barbaric way that all rational thinking and everything goes out the window, and it's just rage.
Yeah.
And this is what, you know, Joe Rogan and so many people talk about when they say, people just want to be left alone. And when they get to a point to where you see someone that's peaceful, that wants peace, pushed to a point to where that is no longer an option, then you see something that the world should not see, which is, you know, a whole nother side of protective men and humanity.
Yeah.
Play out in vengeance. You know, and this, seeing that article there reminds me of like this. It's like you're calling Batman the problem. You know, Batman's in there trying to get rid of the bad guys, and then all of a sudden he's the problem.
Exactly.
Like, okay, go ahead and make Batman the villain. It's just it's pretty scary, man.
Yeah, you know, it makes me think too. Like this is one of the. I'm just thinking like. I don't know if this is abstract. I don't know what this is, but it also makes you think about, you mentioned the barbarism and the unchecked rage. This is why it may in fact be better, you know, to organize war. Like when you decide to go to war, this is why it is organized. That it's not just a bunch of people, you know, that it is actually better, maybe even for your soul, that if you do have the moral high ground and the just war goes forth, well, it's going to be organized.
Yeah.
And there's going to be moments where we actually have to fight and the rage comes out, but it is going to be somewhat ordered in order to in order to defeat
the movie
the enemy.
The Purge. Remember those movies?
Yeah, not The Purge.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. If you're gonna have it, and that's what they figured out in that movie as the writers were writing it. Like, we're gonna have a controlled, carnal, barbaric way of resetting the scales a little bit, and we're gonna do it one night a year, and it's gonna be organized, and it's gonna be done. Well, what you're potentially gonna see here, if people are pushed far enough, is that you won't be able to stop that train right. Once it's left the station.
I think this is somehow, I'm going to try to make this a good segue into this next clip, which is this Adam Carolla clip that we have. And you sent this to me, and it's forgive the video. Oh, sorry, this is John Stossel. Forgive the video quality. It's just going to be in the small portion of the screen. It is censored, but here is Adam Carolla going off on the left and the Muslims, and the LGBT and the Muslims.
Now, here's the whole thing about the LGBT whatever community. I look at it the same as I look at the Muslim community, which is you can be Muslim or you can be gay. You can't be gay and Muslim, but you could be Muslim or you can be gay. I have zero thoughts about it and zero problems with it. And I'm also going to say, as much as these assholes would argue this point, America's extremely tolerant to people and their different ideas and their different proclivities and their different ways of life and their different ways of expressing love. We don't want to be force-fed your bullshit all day.
Yeah.
That's what we push back against. We don't push back against Muslims. We push back against mandatory Muslim recognition night at the WNBA or whatever the you're planning next. The LGBT community, fine. You guys have an agenda. And so the thing is go be gay, go be trans, go be whatever the you want. But now you're going to insist that we got to fly the gay flag in front of the courthouse, and now you can off. Because I don't want to be part of it. You understand? I'm going to be indoctrinated into your bullshit. And by the way, like the Muslims, it's not... We just want people to tolerate us and live. No, you want to foist an agenda. That's what you're doing. If you don't, there's a version of quietly going about your business. This ain't it. You don't need to have the gay flag. You don't need to have Pride Month. You don't need to do the thing on the lawn of the White House. You can just go about your life. And then people push back, and then you get the claim that they're homophobic and you feel threatened. No, it's because you won't shut up about it. All these groups, they're there to agitate. They're not there to be left alone and peacefully practice either the religion or sucking. So you look at the whole gay thing. They go, we just want to be left alone and be married and have the same rights as whatever. Yeah. Every time you give them something, what do? Well, we want some 9-foot he-she with his tucked between his legs to read to your kids Cat in the Hat. And you go, what? I don't want to do that. And they go, you're
and then
homophobic, are you?
After some people accept that, then they're like, well, we actually want to transition your 12-year-old.
Yeah,
and
blacks, gays, all those groups, they're all doing the same which is, you're fine. We're in a good society. Go do whatever you want. Oh, no. They keep pushing. They keep agitating. I'm telling you, when people step back and look at these moments, it's not going to be about just give them what they want. Mm-hmm. What they want is capitulation by you, but it's also, they're just going to keep going. All they want to do is complain about everything, and they want to be victims all the time. So they're going to keep pushing until some point you go, no, I don't want those books in my public library. And they go, oh, okay, now we're fighting, because that's the plan. Now here's the whole...
That's it, man. That's where the silent majority is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm ready for you.
My critique on this is really just why are they not stopping? You know, he said many times there. By the way, it's really, I mean, you know, it's comical, and I agree with the sentiment. Like, this is what's happening. And I would agree that certainly over the last 20, 30 years, that's people have just had just do what you want to do, put your head down and be quiet about it. My question, it's just starting out, is why are they not being quiet about it? Do you know? I mean, do you have just off the top of your head, like, just, it doesn't have to be right or wrong, just generally, like, why do you think this contingent of people.
Well, I'm certainly not going to speak for gays and Muslims as their ambassador or anything like that to see why pride and persistence for them is so important. I mean, that's tough because, I mean, I think for a lot of them, they would probably have different answers to that. And so it's hard to put all that into one and paint that all into one.
Yeah, I'm going to paint with a broad brush. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why they want.
When I saw this, I thought, man, Paul's going to love the libertarian mindset here. This is so
I gave
libertarian
up on libertarian a long time ago.
Yeah, right. But originally, years and years ago, that was you.
Mm-hmm.
So
let me tell you why they don't want to stop. Because they know deep down that they are wrong. When they lay up bed at night, alone or with their gay lovers or wherever, I don't know, and they're I haven't done this in a long time, but when I was younger, I would do this. You lay at bed and you would try to watch the fan. You ever focus on one of the fan blades?
Yep.
You know, you ever done that?
Done that.
When they lay at bed at night and they're trying to fall asleep and they're looking up at that fan, they know they're wrong, and they won't stop because validation from an authority, which in this case, the only authority that they want to even recognize that exists is the government, whether they like the government or agree with it or not. They're not, whether they believe in God or not, they know they're not getting an approval from God on their lifestyle and their way they're living. And so they desperately want man's approval. They want their city council's approval. They want their state legislators' approval. They want their state's approval. They want the president of the United States' approval. And I really do believe that this is about validation. They know that they are wrong, and they know that they are at the very least not fulfilled, that this lifestyle that they are pursuing, that they are living, is not doing it for them, even though society has told them that it will fill this void that is in them. Because we're all created to worship. Whether we worship the true God or not is another story, but as created beings, the Lord created us to worship. What is the chief end of man, right? To worship God and glorify Him forever. And so that is why they won't stop. Which brings me to my next critique of Adam Carolla here. And again, I like Adam Carolla, consider him an ally in this, fight against the madness or whatever. But what he is describing is the 1990s. He is describing a place where the gays were just trying to get a foothold. You had books like After the Ball that said, only talk about love, don't talk about actually gay sex because it'll gross everybody out. But you did have people, at least seemingly, there were strategists behind it, but there were also people that were not strategists. There were just gay people that were just happy to be gay in America, I suppose. And, maybe they would say a thing or two about gay rights here or there, but they did seem to just blend in or put their heads down and certainly didn't celebrate it. Because
they've just been through the AIDS era, man.
Yeah. And they didn't celebrate it, and they just kind of did their thing. That you will never get that back. You're not going to fix the problem of transing kids by somehow just going back to making them shut up about being gay. I don't believe that's possible. I think there's a couple of ways to do this if you really want to end what we're talking about. Granted, we can look back and say objectively that the 90s were a less evil time than now when it comes to this sexual perversion question. But it's got progressively worse because we're on a slippery slope. And now we have some people that want to crawl up the slippery slope, which I am all for. Crawl up the slippery slope. But they want to pick and choose. They don't want to go all the way to the top to level ground. Going all the way to the top to level ground on the sex issue would be, well, let's just say there's several plateaus. But the plateau that we have just come off of would be gay marriage. And so people want to say today, and Adam Carolla may be one of them, I'm fine with gay marriage. I'm perfectly fine with gay marriage. I just don't want you transing kids. And I think many of these people don't understand that, look, if you want to get rid of transing kids, you have to realize that if it wasn't for accepting gay marriage, we would not have transing kids and calling it healthcare. Wouldn't happen, would not exist in the same world. There's no world where transing kids and calling it healthcare comes first before you have gay marriage. It doesn't happen. Now, you can leave that plateau and maybe go up another slippery slope, and you eventually could get to the divorce rate in this country. You could get to no-fault divorce, which is a heterosexual problem. You could get to the fact that Christian marriages and marriages in general, the divorce rates abominable in this country and has been for a very long time. And you could say, see, well, we devalued marriage with the divorce and easy divorce and everything else, and that led to what? Gay marriage, and then gay marriage leads to sacrificing our kids. You could go further up to abortion. You could even say maybe abortion was the next plateau, or maybe abortion and easy divorce came later. I don't know, but I guess my point is we're never going to get the 90s back by just suppressing or somehow getting gay people to go back in the closet without admitting that we have violated God's standard. And so you can do that by creating more Christians, and obviously God is who creates more Christians, but the gospel spreading, biblical churches going forward, and evangelizing by simply being biblical churches. By the way, that's the best way to evangelize, is to plant new biblical churches, in my opinion. So you can do it that way. Or you can have existing Christian populations, which we do have, that just need to be better catechized to go into civil government and pass laws that they would be proud to say they passed in front of a holy God at Judgment Day, instead of libertarian laws that somehow this live and let live mentality means I have to put up with bringing a little kid to a drag show so he can be ogled by a half-naked pedophile, I believe, on stage, shaking his stuff. Right? That's my soapbox. Sorry,
speechless.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I thought it was a great summary of the fact and a reminder of the fact that he wouldn't have been allowed to say that a few years ago.
Correct.
So I think there is a way in which we've moved forward into having a conversation of where we're willing to draw lines and say no. Because Adam Carolla would not have been able to say that 4 years ago and gotten away with it and not have been canceled by any and everything and been blacklisted from everywhere.
Yeah.
And granted, it's not like he's an A-lister on all the biggest movies. You're not going to have Tom Cruise saying what Adam Carolla just did, or Brad Pitt or somebody like that. But just the fact that he and his audience, and he feels comfortable saying, look, you took it too far. The pendulum swung too far this way. And now, so to your point about if the 90s is here, the early 2020s were here, we've got to get back to it, and to what I say all the time, which is some sort of a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Because to your point as well, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. This isn't the 90s anymore.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think he's right about the fact that they take, push. The old book, give a mouse a cookie, I mean, he's 100% right about that, in my opinion.
And eventually parents can say, yeah, do whatever you want in your bedroom. I don't want to know about it, but don't touch my kids.
Right.
Don't talk to my kids. And don't try to make my kids part of your affirmation of what you do.
Yeah.
Or me.
Well, and think about the fact, too, that, we don't have to live under those threats if we don't want to, if we had a government that was actually constitutional the way it was originally intended.
Well, but guess what, Paul? Most people are too gutless to speak up.
They are. But, the Supreme Court, in overturning Roe v. Wade, the concurring opinion, Clarence Thomas was like, we got to revisit gay marriage, because the same principle applies. There's no right to abort in the Constitution. The states can regulate it. There's also no right to marry in the Constitution. And so, absolutely, the states should be able to say, no, we don't do gay marriage here. I'm sorry. And do you know what that would mean? That would mean gay people would move out of here. And they would move out of states to where they could go live their lives and do what they want to do. That's what would eventually happen. Mm-hmm. And we may be, decreasingly or increasingly no longer the United States of America. And I think actually all that would work itself out. But we've been denied that idea of governance by these top-down rulings like Roe v. Wade or like Obergefell, which was what it was. But at the same time, I also think that Christian laws can have a tendency to really test whether this person really believes it ideologically or not and is willing to actually put their life on the line for it. I think if you called transing kids child abuse and parents could lose their kids, if not themselves be put in jail for abusing their kids and calling it health care, I think there'd be a lot of parents overnight that would suddenly lose their ideological muster. I think there'd be a lot of parents overnight that'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Sorry, kid. Go get bullied, go through puberty. Maybe you're going to feel a little different in about 5 years instead of cutting your breasts off. I think a lot of that would really help, and it would be better for your neighbor. It's actually the loving thing for your neighbor to have laws like that. They may not think so, but these detransitioners right now certainly wish they had laws. I guarantee all these girls and guys that transitioned themselves really wish what the doctors did to them had been illegal. And yet the media clapped like seals and said, do it, be empowered, you're going to be happy. And now they're more suicidal now than ever. So, anyway, I'm sorry I didn't mean to derail the conversation if I did, but...
Not at all.
I think
don't even dare apologize.
Well, it's kind of my pet peeve, and I love it. I think Adam Carolla is correct in the tolerance of the country.
Yeah, if Trump wasn't president, he wouldn't even be able to say what he's saying.
That's right.
It's like J.D. Vance's tweet the other day. Like, y'all can calm down. President Trump was elected. Mm-hmm. Remember?
Yep.
I mean, it's just like, we don't have to worry about this stuff anymore.
That's exactly right. On the Major League Baseball thing.
Yeah. It's like, why are y'all mad about the SF on the Giants hats being rainbow and them writing a Bible verse? It's fine. They can write a Bible verse on there if they want.
Yeah.
Trump's president.
Yeah. This is America. Lighten up.
This is
chill out.
America.
Right. I think I would love to talk to Adam Carolla about this too, because I would want to know.
Hang on, let me call him real quick.
I would want to know if he's like actually thought this through, because at the end he gets to fighting. So the point was in the 90s, it's not the 90s anymore. Now it's push until it gets violent. Right. Until it's like we've got to do something. I would love to talk to him and other people like, what do you think that actually looks like? Because that does appear to be the goal, because this is actually just gay communism. It's just like, it's sex-based communism based on the LGBT is really what it is. Class warfare, but based on like sexual preference or lusts. Mm-hmm. And it's really strange. It just goes to show you nothing is new under the sun. We just reinvent it and relabel things. But I would love to know, like, surely he's got to know that if it does come to an actual blows or civil war, no pun intended, gays, if it does actually come to that, the solution to that won't be the 90s. It's going to be much, much further. The solution is going to be, the last anti-sodomy law in the country was...
I was going to say, are you talking about like, what, the 50s, the 60s?
Yeah, I mean, the last anti-sodomy law out of Texas was ruled unconstitutional in 2001 out of Texas. Or 2003, I think, actually. That's my point, is if it eventually comes to that, I think people are going to be like, never again. Because the slippery slope is a real argument. It is not made up. We're living the slippery slope. We have lived it. So, yeah, the pendulum does need to swing back the other way. But does it swing back in a balanced way? I certainly don't think so until it goes all the way back. That's my point. So I know we got to go here in a minute, but I do appreciate you being with us.
Great to be part of the conversation, Paul. Great show, sir.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health, New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, Pet Club 247, and Sherrod Chiropractic. I'll be back here Friday holding down the microphone. We may have a guest. I haven't checked my email yet, but otherwise we'll be going through the news. Regardless, we'll be going through the news. God bless everybody out there watching. We'll see you tomorrow.